It's time to move beyond the politics of yesterday because we are the party of tomorrow. We're going forward. But I can promise you this. I will always tell you what I think. I will always tell you where I stand. I will be honest with you about the challenges we face as a nation. We will win this general election, and then you and I together, we can change the country and change the world. Starting today, we must pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and begin again the work of remaking America.
If this is the change we all can believe in, America's best days are behind her.
You voted for change, but you're not getting any change today.
I hereby order Guantanamo will be closed.
It was my idea to withdraw. I withdrew.
When I realized the mistake, I paid the tax in full.
Tom made the decision. I take responsibility for this mistake.
These were careless mistakes. They were avoidable mistakes.
Our economic crisis could become a national catastrophe.
If we do everything right, there's still a 30% chance we're going to get it wrong.
How many of you people want to pay for your neighbor's mortgage that has an extra bathroom and can't pay their bills? Raise their hand. How about we all? President Obama, are you listening?
Look at this bill. This bill has got to be done by tonight.
Then you get the argument, well, this is not a stimulus bill, this is a spending bill. What do you think a stimulus is?
What happened to the promise that we're going to let the American people see what's in this bill for 48 hours? But no, we don't have time to do that.
Let's go.
So I shamelessly say no. I want him to fail if his agenda is a far-left collectivism.
We have always been, and we, I believe, continue to be, a nation of cowards.
The United States government will stand behind your warranty.
There have been times where America's shown arrogance and been dismissive, even derisive.
We do not consider ourselves a Christian nation.
I've not made the guacamole yet, but if somebody can get me a relatively sharp knife.
We are going to pass health care reform.
For our country, we have to do it for our citizens.
Here we are with a bill that is going to top over $1 trillion with no way of paying for it.
Those briefing me in September 2002 gave me inaccurate and incomplete information.
I would advise the administration to think very carefully about the course ahead.
Court of Appeals is where policy is made. And I know this is on tape, and I should never say that because we don't make law.
It's not productive, given the history of U.S.-Iranian relations, to be seen as meddling.
I respectfully disagree with the position that the administration has taken.
Our first stimulus bill, it seemed to me, it was sort of like taking half a tablet of Viagra.
Now, if anybody thinks that all of this bureaucracy is needed to fix our health care system, I would politely disagree.
You're telling me we got to go spend money to keep from going bankrupt? The answer is yes, I'm telling you.
And there you have it, 6 months of hope and change, a soaring deficit, a failed stimulus, and a foreign policy ashamed of everything this country stands for. And, folks, he's just getting warmed up. And joining me tonight is the author of the brand new book, Catastrophe, former Clinton advisor Dick Morris. For his latest columns and videos, you can sign up for free at dickmorris.com. Dick, welcome back. You're on vacation. Thanks for being with us. Well, let's start in the broader view. 6 months of Barack Obama. Your assessment, catastrophe.
I wonder where that guy was, the one we heard in the video about hope and change and all of that stuff. Never a word about ideology and radicalism and government takeover and socialism. Obama's administration was doomed to fail the first week when he gave away the money in that stimulus package. As we point out in Catastrophe, this was not a means to end the recession. The recession was an excuse to get the spending. And socialism is not an epithet, it's a statistic. The percentage of the economy controlled by the government. When Obama took office, it was 33. When he passed his stimulus package, it got to be 40. And if he gets health care, it'll be 45. Germany's 47. France is 49. And he really has laid out this program to make America socialist. And the problem is that he's borrowing the money, which means he's elbowing out everybody else who wants to create jobs with the money, because the federal government has to get there first.
Dick, there is the Treasury Department's watchdog group literally thinks that all the Obama bailouts, and folks, this is with a T, can add up to $23 trillion. Yeah. At the end of the day. Now, one other statistic, his spending shatters the record during World War II. He's out there purposely hiding bad economic news because they have to reforecast based on their assumptions having been wrong.
Well, you just take the simple fact. When he took office, spending was $3 trillion, now it's $4 trillion. When he took office, the economy was $14 trillion, now it's $13 trillion. Do the math. And, you know, you're on me a lot about that I worked for Bill Clinton, and it's not the most popular thing I've ever done in your mind. But Bill Clinton's solution to the economic crisis was to balance the budget and eliminate the deficit, because he knew the crucial thing was not government spending, but interest rates. And he knew the key thing was to bring them down. Obama has doubled them since he took office. And the only reason they're not up anymore is that the Fed keeps printing money, fueling inflation ahead.
Yeah, I guess the question that we've got to ask ourselves, with all of this spending, and as reckless as it is, unemployment now tops 10% in 15 states. We know that. Home foreclosures now set a new record. They promised us unemployment, if we pass the stimulus, wouldn't go above 8%. It's a disaster for state revenues on top of federal revenues going down. There's a question here. If now that his poll numbers are coming down, has that been the reason for the big push for health care?
Yes.
To get it out of the way because there's no chance later?
Yeah. I wrote a book that I think he read. The first chapter was called The New Prince. And the first chapter was the need for a daily majority. And it said when a president of the United States drops below the 50s in job approval into the low 40s, he's functionally out of office. It's as if he's a prime minister in Britain who just lost a vote of confidence. He's at 51 now, according to Rasmussen, 59 in the Washington Post, 56 in Gallup. When those, and everybody agrees he's dropped 10 to 15 in the last 3 months. When those numbers go into the 40s, he won't be able to pass anything. So he's desperate to get cap and trade and health care reform through as fast as he can until he becomes too politically impotent to do it.
But he's pretty much gotten everything that he's wanted. I think this is a very important point. He's got his stimulus, he got his earmarks, he got his omnibus, he's got cap and trade in the House, working its way through the Senate. He's pushing now for health care, but it's interesting. Now we've got Democratic senators, Democratic governors, blue dog Democrats in the House.
Right.
Now they're the ones standing up to him. Exactly. Why is that happening?
Well, because he's not in the 60s anymore. He's in the low 50s. And they see he's going down. And they have to run without him. And they have to survive the day after. And I believe he is meeting his Waterloo as we speak. Part of it was when he lost the Jews checkoff provision, which we in Catastrophe say is part of his plan for political domination. Had to give that up. First thing he's lost on. Now it looks like he's backing off that August deadline for health care reform.
Yeah, earlier tonight he just backed off. Yeah.
Second thing he's lost on. And I think that, Winston Churchill once said that between El Alamein and Stalingrad and the Battle of Midway, which happened within a few months of each other, before then, we never won a battle. After that, we never lost a battle. I think that may be the true of Obama. Until now, he's never lost a battle. After this, he may never win one.
From here going forward. So do you think politically now that this is the opportunity? How bad are things going to get before the 2010 elections?
Horrible. You're going to have unemployment continuing to go up. When it begins to come down, inflation is going to go completely crazy. And I think the Republicans will win the 10 elections.
Does he not see...
Whether they get power or they just get a lot,
One thing that I thought, Bill Clinton, he did go along with the Republicans to end welfare. The era of big government did end. In other words, Clinton was more politically pragmatic. Yeah. It seems like he's so stuck into his ideology.
So ideological.
All right, so then the question then becomes, does he see what's happening before his eye? Will we see that it's so obvious to us?
He does, absolutely. He's not delusional, but he doesn't care. His attitude is, I want to complete a socialist takeover of the United States before my popularity runs out. And if I'm a one-term president, I don't care. I accomplished my objective. And we are stuck. Everybody has to understand, when he talks about lowering the cost of health care, he's talking about denying health care to the elderly. His bill repeals Medicare. The concept of a guaranteed access to health care for the elderly ends when his bill passes.
Guaranteed rationing, guaranteed no choice.
And rationing means you cut the elderly. Yep. You don't cut health care for a 40-year-old. You cut it for a 70 or an 80-year-old.
Sounds like a catastrophe.
It is.
All right. Dick Morris, good.
I think we'll write a book like that.
All right. Thank you, Dick. And coming up,